Great day to be a Coyote. Welcome, Coyote Nation, to another episode of Back to Pack Podcast, where we are going to be bringing you all of your favorite games, memories, and of course, discussion with our fellow Coyotes. As a disclaimer, we have no affiliation to the University of South Dakota. This is a podcast ran by fans, for fans. The ideas and comments do not represent the university. Our opinions are our own. Be sure to find us on Twitter at BackToPackSD and join the USD Coyote Fans Nation page on Facebook. Last but not least, lock in your Yote Fund membership level at www.goyotes.com. That said, let's talk some Coyote football.
Mitch, how we
what's
doing?
up? What's up, buddy?
Doing well. You got it up here. 2 more Saturdays. I'm like really starting to feel the itch for football. I was telling my wife that today, and she's like, "You need to calm down." But I'm like, we're here, right? I mean,
Go.
16 days for USD football, but really we're like what 10 days away from Iowa State and Kansas State over in Ireland. Like we're all interested in that game as Yote fans. So that is like right around the corner. So I'm pumped.
Yes, absolutely. And I will say this before we get going here. Obviously, we don't have Jake with us tonight, but he's Grant. I'm Mitch. You can see our titles up here. Follow us on Twitter. We've got Jake checking in, letting us know. This is our first time going live on Twitter, by the way, because we just became verified today. So thank
Yes.
you, Thank you, Grant. Thank you, Jake, for getting us verified on Twitter. So we've got a new audience coming in from there. So hello to all of you. And then Yoke fan, can't forget about Yoke fan here as people file in. First, he commented this morning at 8:59 a.m. He's just been hanging out all day, waiting for this show. Appreciate him. He's been here from the beginning, OG, and then not far behind. We got Ray coming in, 15 days, 18 hours. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate you.
Yeah. No, I love it.
I
I love it. It's
man,
I'm excited to see too. I'm hoping that a lot of more folks interact with us on Twitter. I pulled it up. I'm confirming it right now. We're live on Twitter as well. So looking forward to it, and it's good timing because boy, we've got seems like now more than ever we get news from all over the place, and we're right into the footsteps of football season. So we're ready
that's
to
right.
rock and roll.
And having this show, I will say this, having the show, because we didn't stop. We didn't have an off season.
Hmm.
And with everything that happened in the spring and even over the summer as we roll into the fall here, I tell you what, having the show has actually passed the time faster. I don't know if you felt that, just from a fan's perspective, but just being a fan, it's made the summer go a little faster, which I actually appreciate.
Yeah. No, I think it's been fun to track. I will say too, I now uh, as it gets closer now it's like the anticipation's really building because we have been in it all summer long. So there's it's kind of two sides of the coin a little bit, right?
That's right. That's right. All right. So, a couple things to talk about before we jump into looking at our away opponents. We have announced this week new website launch, yokefund.com. Have you had a chance to check this out yet?
I did. Checked it out both mobile and on the desktop. I would encourage folks if they haven't been in there to poke around on it. It's a really sharp website, very easy to navigate to. I mean, any questions that you have in regards to Yote Fund is pretty well covered and answered throughout the site and the app. So uh, I would encourage folks to go poke around at it, but a lot of good info out there for all sports, right? I mean, not just football, but football,
Everything.
volleyball, parking maps. I mean, it's really more of really I would say kind of a compliment to the Go Yotes page, really, as far as the resources that are out there. So definitely check that out if you haven't.
Yeah, so one comment on this, Grant. First thing when I went to this website, I saw how you mentioned the word sharp, just how good it looked.
Hmm.
I will say last week we were talking about the $14.5 million. It's nice to know that that money was well spent. I'm gonna guess a little piece of that went to this website. So
Right.
love the website. Kudos to whoever was a part of that design team because it's fantastic.
Hmm.
And we talked about Sam. Yeah, Sam Cole's up here. He
Yeah.
actually has a testimonial that pops up when you go to that website. And we talked about him last week too. But I like his testimonial, and I'm not going to read the whole thing here. Fans can see it on the screen, but just knowing that he mentions in the last sentence, I'll always be a coyote, proudly bleed red.
Hmm.
And this is a big year for him. He's going to get his shot. Like I said, we talked about him last week, and he's got a chance to be a really big contributing piece on that offensive line. And so just really cool. And, kind of full circle moment for all of us.
Yeah. No, agreed. I'm excited to see what that looks like this year for them, because you're right, a lot of opportunity this year.
Yeah, and like I said, just cool to see the student testimonials out there on this website.
Hmm.
All right, so a couple of things just to remind folks. I'm not going to go through this in detail, but the Yote Fund kind of replaces the Howling Pack. It's your one-stop shop now. There are different levels, so there's kind of two buckets to this. The first one is the level that you're in. So there's the Red, Coyote, Dakota Varsity, Legend, Victory, and Yote Leadership Society. Everybody's going to fall into a bucket, and this bucket is based on your total yearly spend on various things throughout Coyote athletics, whether that's donations, season tickets, maybe purchasing something at Calling All Coyotes, that kind of thing. You're going to fall into one of these levels. Those levels are going to give you benefits, and every level as you move up, the benefits just get better and better. So just know that you're going to be in one of those levels. Grant, I don't know for you personally, but I think I'm in Coyote.
Yeah, I was working through the numbers there. I'm trying to think. I think I fall in like the varsity level,
Oh,
which is
you
good. I was
look at
telling you,
you.
my wife and kids appreciate the upgraded the upgraded parking on game
Yes,
day.
absolutely, absolutely.
Especially if the kids aren't feeling the tailgate right away. So, but yeah, like I said, I think it's again, it's all laid out really nice on the website of kind of what gets what, but it's no,
Yep.
it's exciting, and I like the new format. Although it was daunting in the beginning when they were talking about totaling up everything, it actually makes sense relatively quickly, and it's pretty easy to digest. So, but yeah, it doesn't take long to move up the chart, to be honest, right? You start buying multiple tickets.
Season
Um,
tickets helps a lot.
Season tickets get you a long ways there,
Yep.
especially for us, our group. We kind of buy them together and have been doing that for a while. So it's like yeah, you can move the chart pretty quickly here.
Absolutely. All right. And so the other piece, I mentioned two buckets. So you got your level, and there's also the point system. The point system, you can see across the top of the screen, you're going to get different points for different things. And those points are then tallied up, and they are a running tally. And that's going to put you in a rank of all of Coyote Nation. And really, the importance of this, Grant, is priority, right? So when it comes to playoff tickets, and
Hmm.
we get our allotment. Let's say last year we went to Bozeman for Montana State game. You're going to get the front of the line. You're going to be in the middle, the back, somewhere, wherever you are. It's going to be based on your points, and so those points are important to kind of know where you stand. And I know we joked about this when we had Ben LeCompte on to roll out the Yote Fund here a couple months ago. Was we knew we were going to take a hit because you and I were near the top, and they didn't in the old formula. They didn't include all the donations. If somebody was donating to a capital project or what have you, they weren't getting credit for those points, or someone that buys something at Calling All Coyotes, you bid on a big auction item or whatever. We knew we were going to get bumped once those points got brought in here, and those people were included fully. And so I dropped I was in the top 16, and I'm about 35 in the top 35 here. I've got mine on the screen so you can see where I rank. But I know you took a hit too.
Yeah, I think, and to your point too, I'm sure a lot of cleanup went into this, because I think before it was out of like, I think they had 9,000 accounts or something like that. So I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
over the course of the year, so many dormant accounts, or maybe just like a one and done, somebody created an account to buy tickets. So this is
Right.
probably a better representation, right, of that.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, all good stuff for sure.
If you want to check out where you're at, there's a couple different ways to get to this location, but you can get it through yotefund.com and kind of go the long route through that website, or you can just go to goyotes.com. Go to, if you were buying tickets, get into your login, click on manage my account. At the bottom, you'll see the Coyote points. It's really bottom right corner, I think it is. So
Hmm.
you'll be able to see, and those have just been updated, by the way. I've been watching this for the last couple of weeks to see when they were going to get it updated, and I think it was just this week as they rolled out the Yote Fund website, and then issuing those Iowa State tickets based on those priority points.
Hmm.
So again, you got better tickets if you went that route. Depending on where you were priority wise, you were going to get a little better seating there. So that's really one of the advantages for the points. And then just last thing on this is just follow them on all the socials. Twitter, you've got at Yote Fund. Facebook, you can find them if you just search the Yote Fund. And then if you're an Instagram person, it's all one word, Yote Fund. So make sure you're following them. They've been putting out a lot of information these last couple of weeks, and there's going to be more to come. So, check them out there. Otherwise, you can go to yotefund.com. All right, tailgating. Let's go.
Hmm.
Let's go. we finally, you know what? So I put this up on the screen last week too, and I didn't have that new Coyote Nation there in red to the southeast of the dome.
Hmm.
Didn't have that on there yet, but with the new website comes the updated map. So I missed it by 1 week. So I throw it up here one more time for Coyote Nation to see the different tailgating spots. I hope you have a spot. I hope you know where you're at, but check out the map, and that is on the Yote Fund website as well. So check it out. Make sure you know where you're at. Grant, I know where you're at. I'll be there.
Yep, I was just gonna say if you're interested in tailgating or want to, definitely take advantage of it. We've expanded that for a reason. I think the intent and the expectation is that'll fill up here pretty soon. So, um, but if not, if you don't have a spot yourself, come find us, Mitch, Jake, and myself. We're always wandering around tailgate before games.
Yep, Tailgate Nation holding it down over there. All right, let's talk tailgate at Iowa State. This just came out today, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. And to your point, through the Yote Fund actually is who I saw it through. I'm sure it's on I'm sure it got reshared and things like that on other pages, but I did see it through the Yote Fund first, to your point. So they are pushing out information like this as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So the Yote Fund, like Grant said, they're the ones. Again, that's the kind of the old Howling Pack for those that are legacy members here.
Hmm.
So they're putting out this information and organizing these things like the Iowa State tailgate. So we officially have a spot, and it looks like it's kind of on the southeast side of Jack Trice Stadium,
Hmm.
spot 26. 10:30 start time, 11 o'clock food. So if you're looking to get a bite to eat before you go into the game, game's at 2:30, so you got a little bit of time there. But yeah, and make sure you RSVP so they get a count. There's a link with this information. If you go out and find it on Facebook, the Yote Fund, you can RSVP. I think they also send out emails too as well. So check your emails as another option to get that link. But RSVP, so they kind of have a ballpark number as to how many people are going to be at that tailgate.
Saying, I don't know if you saw it, Mitch, but right before we jumped on, I saw that John Schimmel tweeted, and he said, he goes, they've already have 500 plus RSVPs to the tailgate
Oh, that's
party. So
fantastic.
I'm excited. I think this is going to be one of like the most well attended, most fun FBS games. And I've been to quite a few of them. I try to make to as many few as I can of the FBS games. I already by far this is going to be one of the most well attended ones. So obviously proximity helps, but I think there's a lot of excitement around Coyote football right now. So I'm really looking forward to Ames.
Yeah, and we've mentioned on previous shows we were robbed of this matchup during the
We
COVID
were,
during the
yeah,
COVID era because this was supposed to happen and didn't because of COVID. So I think a lot of people had it circled then and just kind of carried it over. And obviously, yeah, the excitement around cat football, like you said, huge. So that's fantastic. We were talking offline too before the show. We're at what, just under 1,000 maybe.
yeah. It sounds like
That
we're just under 1,000 as far as fans and staff members that bought tickets out of the USD allotment. And then, of course, there's going to be, I've talked to a lot of different people talking about they're making the trip. They maybe didn't get the tickets in the allotment, but they're coordinating with folks that they know that live in Iowa or Iowa State fans are sitting by. But yeah, to your point, I'd like to think we're going to be nearing 1,500 ish, maybe 2,000 Yote fans and names, and that would be great to see.
Yeah, and it's hard to track how many people bought tickets outside of
Hmm.
USD's allotment, and so I do. I think I expect a pretty good showing, like you mentioned, close, big game, everything like that. So I do expect a really good showing by Coyote Nation at this game. All right, real quick, we gotta give an update here because this was a really cool moment
Hmm.
this past weekend. Watching Travis Tice return a punt back, I think it was 80-yard punt return for a touchdown. He gets player of the match. Also going up against fellow Coyote Brock Mogensen here of the Edmonton Elks. And funny enough, Brock Mogensen tackled him on
Yes,
a kick return later in the game.
that's right.
I think he broke three, four. Travis broke three or four tackles, and Mogi ended up cleaning him up on the sideline. So, really cool moment to see both of these guys doing their thing in the what we're calling the Coyote Football League up in Canada.
That's right. Yeah, we were joking about this last week, but man, there's more and more pro yotes out there, right? NFL, CFL, it's great to see. And to your point, tackling Travis is not an easy task, but if there's one person that's up to the task, it's certainly Mogi. So love seeing two yotes getting at it.
Man, can you imagine the battles in practice that they used to have?
Probably it would probably knock me out. I mean, I'd probably be knocked unconscious after like a warm up rep from those two.
Unreal, unreal stuff. So yeah, happy for those two guys doing their thing. I think the Edmonton Elks actually made a comeback in that game and ended up winning. But yeah, I love seeing that. And then not a video, not a very good picture either. But how about Strevy? He pushed it in from about 1 yard out with his quarterback keeper there. Can't forget about him doing his thing again back in Winnipeg.
Hmm. Yeah, he's got a nose for the end zone, and that hasn't stopped since his days in Vermilion. But yeah, I'm just so happy and glad to see him back after his big knee injury. I think it's you never know after stuff like that what it's going to bring, but he's contributing and playing a ton, scoring touchdowns. So really happy to see that.
Absolutely. All right, couple in the NFL for you too. We got preseason going on, so got let's see, let's start top left here. Well, John Thayer retweeted the Kansas City Chiefs opening kickoff. Cochran goes down there, punches the ball out, and the Chiefs
Yeah.
recovered that kick return. So quick flip of the ball there, and awesome play by Jack Cochran, and two-time Super Bowl champ, by the way, Jack Cochran.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sounds pretty nice.
Yeah, it's got a
Um,
nice ring to it.
Yeah, and he battled injuries last year too. I think he missed quite a bit of time, and so it's again good to see him back out there and right away making plays. How about these two guys? You got Miles Harden, Mike Reed, two defensive backs, former Yotes.
Yeah, I mean it's always cool to see any Yote get their shot in the NFL, but to have two cornerbacks, right, that are in the NFL, uh, pretty great to see. So definitely rooting for all the guys that are duking it out in preseason games and hoping there's a roster spot for them. But that'll all play out here relatively soon. But anytime you get a shot to play at the pro level, I mean that's what you play college football for, and that's what our staff talked about, right? If you want to play in the NFL, there's a path to it through USD. So very cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at, I think Miles, I think he's going to make the team, but Mike Reed being a UDFA, he's a longer shot to make the team, but I think he had 5 or 6 tackles in that game. And so, again, he's doing his thing, doing everything he can to make that team as a UDFA, which is really, really hard to do, by the way. And
Hmm.
then last but not least, you've got my guy, JJ Galbraith on the Pittsburgh Steelers. He did see some action and had one catch for 6 yards. Thank you, Yote fam, for helping us out here. Appreciate you.
Hmm.
Yeah, so he's down there, bottom left. No picture or anything with that one, but just the box score from there. Um, thoughts on these guys? I mean, I think a lot of these guys, even JJ included, have a good chance to make the team. And again,
Yeah, I mean,
UDFA route, so it's not easy. It's probably the hardest route to go.
no doubt. Yeah, I guess in my mind, I haven't followed it super close. I think Jack is. I mean, Cochran's basically on the team. I think he just re-signed a deal this past offseason, if I remember correctly. So I don't
Yep.
think, nothing's promised in the NFL, right? But I don't think his job's in jeopardy. I think he's a pretty elite special teams player for him. Same with Miles Harden. I don't think his, position's in jeopardy necessarily. I know he kind of dealt with an injury bug last year, so that's always a tougher deal. But to your point, I'm really hoping to see those other two, make the 53, right? That's the big thing. If you can just force those coaches to not cut you, right? Do everything you can, and selfishly, we'd love to see JJ catch some touchdowns in Pittsburgh. That's a fun position to watch in the NFL as that's evolved. So
Yeah, and Pittsburgh historically loves the tight end position,
they
so
do. Uh-huh.
not surprised there. He has had a couple touchdowns in camp, in practice with the second
Hmm.
stringers, so that's promising. And even if they can latch on in the practice squad, right? They don't have to make the
Yeah.
final 53 because making the final 53 is tough. But even the practice squad, because that you got your foot in the door, and that keeps you around, and that's all that really matters. Because that's Jack Cochran took that route, and
Yeah,
look at
I mean,
him.
say Strevler took that route for years.
Yep,
He was on the
yep,
practice squad, and then flash forward, you're the backup in the Cardinals, and all of a sudden you're the starting QB in a playoff game, right? Like that's when we talk about all you need is a shot. That's exactly what we're looking for. So it's
yeah.
rooting for these guys for sure.
One other guy we got to check up on at some point is Joey Lombard because he's fighting too on the
Hmm.
Kansas City Chiefs. So definitely need to look him up too. Don't want to forget about him because he's a friend of our show.
Yes, no doubt.
All right, before we go to ranking opponents here, Grant, we did have a comment come in And I want to get your thoughts on this because I thought this one was interesting.
Yeah, a little
From
question here to start the show off. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. So Nacito 3129. When Josh Davis showed up a couple years ago, he immediately announced USD would be a run first ball control offense. Has that philosophy changed with the new coaches and players?
You want me to give my thoughts first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, so from what we understand, again, we're not intimately involved in the day-to-day operations, of course, but from what we've been told, I it seems like business as usual from an offensive scheme and philosophy style, right? So um, you take that in in conjunction with having Charles Pierre as your running back, you'd be nuts not to be run first ball control type team. So I expect us to be. I don't think we're going to see a lot of scheme difference from last year, just based off of what we've kind of heard. We certainly have different personnel, right? So you're going to make adjustments for that, but scheme wise, philosophy wise, I don't anticipate a ton of changes. But that's my thoughts and opinions from what I'm kind of hearing and seeing.
Yeah, and I'll put in a plug for John Thayer's Yokecast podcast, which takes the summer off, but he'll be starting up here real soon
Mm-hmm.
with that. He actually had our new offensive coordinator, Tim Morrison, on in this, I want to say spring, maybe March timeframe,
Mm-hmm.
for an interview and asked him that very question. And his answer was basically, we're going to keep a lot the same, but I'm going to put in a few nuances. There's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
few wrinkles that I put in and my own twist on it. But as far as the overall philosophy, scheme, and just mentality of what we want to do, it's still going to be a run first team. And I think that plays really well to the team's strengths, but also Aiden specifically his strengths. We've seen a lot of big plays come off the play action.
I was just going to
And so
say,
I
Aiden is
think
a
that
surgeon off play action, and he'll
yeah,
continue
and
to
so
be.
I think that that's real. Ultimately, I don't think that changes. Um, as far as overall philosophy or scheme, still going to be
Mm-hmm.
run first. We've got the horses in the backfield that want to run, and so we're going to let them run. And so I don't think that changes. And then again, based on hearing what he had to say, I don't. I think that kind of just confirms what I was thinking, and that I don't think they're going to change a whole lot. And he does have offensive coordinator experience, by the way. He's not like he's going to be a first time offensive coordinator, so I'm sure he's got a lot of ideas as well that he's going to sprinkle in.
Agreed.
All right, great question, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this. So let's start at the bottom like we did last week. Let's go pillow softest to rock hard.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah.
the
So I was just going to
softest and
say
who's the hardest?
yeah, for anybody joining us now, yeah, we're gonna rank the away games, the hardest to softest, at least in our opinions, which we think most winnable, least winnable, everything in between. But yeah, Mitch, to your point, I think we were texting before, had a pretty good consensus at the top and bottom, and maybe a little bit in the middle that we were maybe on the fence again. And and so we sorry, I'm reading Jake's comment over there. The but I think the bottom,
Yes,
uh,
boss.
yeah, the but I think the bottom, I think we all picked the bottom, and you can see it here. Mitch, with the notes you put in here, I think we were in agreement. Indiana State seemed like the least threatening away game pick to finish ninth in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. But yeah, I think that's a pretty well consensus. But any thoughts, I guess, around it? I would say if we're going reverse, right, number 6, Indiana State's pretty well a lock in my opinion.
Yeah, and before I give mine, I just want to mention that Jake actually messaged us before we went live. He messaged us his list, and he had the identical list to me. So, for all intents and purposes, whatever I say is going to be what Jake's answer was too. But to frame it up, Indiana State. All right, so 2024 they finished 4-8, seventh in the Missouri Valley Football Conference, which hey, not terrible. Terry Hope, 10-hour drive. How about that? It's not super close, not the furthest we've ever gone, but again, 10 hours from Vermilion. It's their homecoming, so they're gonna have a little extra juice.
Mhm.
They are picked to finish ninth in the Valley this year. And last year we thumped them in the dome 49-0, held them to negative yards rushing, as we like to joke about on this show. Um, yeah, I'm in agreement. Obviously, Jake's in agreement. Indiana State. All that being said, still going to be pillow soft as the away opponents go. So I don't think
Yeah.
we'll spend a whole lot of time talking about them, but it is their homecoming. So We'll,
I
I
said
guess
that
we'll
was
be
the only
we'll,
that
we'll,
was the
we'll
only
be
thing I was
spoiling
gonna.
the party a little bit, I guess. But
I will say that too. Historically, the crowd has never been a factor in Terre Haute either,
no,
but maybe a slight factor on homecoming, but I don't think that really matters between these two teams. Two
agree.
two programs in very very different positions for 2025.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, give me your second softest. Who you got?
Yeah, so second softest at this point, I think we are in agreement on this one as well. But picked to finish eighth in the Missouri Valley, we have UNI. However, uh, not to dump on Indiana State too much, I would put UNI way higher than Indiana State. I wouldn't put those two necessarily very close together, but Indiana
Yeah.
State is way at the bottom. UNI, we've had, maybe we're just little bitten from it, but we've had some miserable trips over to UNI in the past that
Yes.
uh, they've been a tough team to play there. But this year again, just a program that's kind of in rebuild mode, right? Like they've got a new coach, they've got a lot of new personnel, had a tough season last year. So their UNI's a little unpredictable, but I still expect us to go over to UNI and pick up a win pretty handily.
All right. So if Jake was here, maybe he'll put it in the comments, but he'd make his stepsis joke. Number
Yep.
one, they've got a new head coach with stepsis coming over from Drake.
Hmm.
But hey, fun fact, did you know the Unidome is actually getting an upgrade?
I did not.
Out with the mismatched color seats. You can maybe have some PTSD of our own Dakota Dome.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, all purple. They
There you
look
go.
identical to our seats, but they're purple. How about that?
Well, funny enough, I shouldn't say this because I don't know if I have the evidence to back this up. I always heard that the Dakota Dome blueprints were basically borrowed from UNI, as far as way back in the day when they were building it. Maybe some of the more tenured Yote fans can challenge me or say I'm right on that. But yeah, that would be on point with mismatched seats there for sure.
All right. Thank you, Jake. Everybody can see Jake's comment down below. All right. So UNI 2024, 3-9 last year, 10th in the Missouri Valley. Cedar Falls, not that far away. It's only a 4-hour drive from Vermilion. They're picked to finish eighth in the Missouri Valley this year. Last year, we thumped them pretty good. It was on D-Days in the Dome, 42-17. Now, that was a little bit of payback, which we talked about because of the pumping they gave us a couple of years ago.
Right.
And I mentioned Todd Steps is coming over from Drake. I agree with you. I think that I do have a little I have some faith in him. I think he'll turn the program around, but I think it's going to take him a couple of years. And so this year, I just don't think he has the talent. I think he'll bring a better philosophy and scheme with him from Drake, because he did well at Drake with no scholarship. So you give him scholarship players. I think he turns it around, but I don't think this year's it. So yeah, I agree. UNI would be second softest. All right, give me your third
Yeah.
softest.
I was going to say, actually, do you want to take this one? Because I think this is where we maybe had disagreement. This was the
Ooh,
only
all
the only
right.
two spots where we disagreed, if I remember right.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah.
All right.
So go
So
ahead. You start with it, and then I'll fill in the other, and then we'll say maybe we'll give them our reasons for each one.
all right. So I went Lamar, and I did struggle a little bit, but it is still the Southland conference, and they're picked to finish fourth. And so that's where I went with my third softest. But I think a couple things that make it difficult is that it's Beaumont, Texas, and that is a big trip for the Yotes. 16 hours by car. I can't imagine we're gonna drive that, but it's the Texas heat, and it's early in the season, and so that's where I think that has a chance to make it difficult for us. On top of the long travel time, they do have 14 returning starters in Lamar, and I mentioned fourth in the conference in the Southland. I think they finished fourth last year too, by the way. And then we've played. This is where it gets interesting. So we've played them 4 times in history. We're 1-3 against them, and we've never won in Beaumont, Texas. 0-2 down there.
Sounds like another streak we have to break, right? Broke the UND streak last year, broke the Youngstown streak last year, so that's fine with me.
Yeah, and this game again coming off the heels of the Iowa State game, just where it's positioned, second road game in a row. this has a chance to be a little tricky for the Yotes. Definitely can't slip here, but yeah. So Lamar would be my third softest, although there are some reasons that do make it difficult.
Yeah. No, I would say I'll spoil it. I have Lamar as the third hardest game, so not the fourth hardest like you have them there. So I just have them flip flopped with which I'm guessing most people know SIU and Lamar, kind of who we have third and fourth respectively. But I agree with you on Lamar. Like the thing that worries me is that we have a lot of new personnel, so we're going to have to get gelled together quickly, right?
Yep.
Offensive line, defense in general, just new faces really across all position groups. So, and that's to your point. It's tricky is a good way to put it. Like it's a game. It's a can't lose game, but you're hitting the road in week 2, right? You're coming off Iowa State. Yeah, you're heading down to Texas. It might be 120 degrees down there when you play. Um, there's a lot of factors. The other reason I say I think Lamar's maybe harder than the SIU game is the unfamiliarity, right, of the program. Like, we just don't play them that often. Play, like you said, recently have played them, but otherwise, really nothing in recent past. So, uh, yeah, certainly one. I mean, I would still expect us to win, a game like that, but certainly a tricky one. And we'll see how we feel after we see the team in action after Iowa State. On maybe we'll change our tune on that, but I do have them flip flops. So.
I hear you. And, again, you mentioned Lamar's not really a common opponent. We played them in 2023. We beat them in the Dome, not handily. I think it was maybe a 1 or 2 score game.
Mhm.
But otherwise, you got to go back to 1959 and 1960 when we had a
Right.
home and home with them
Mhm.
back in those 2 years. So not a team that we're familiar with at all. And so, yeah, a little bit of a tricky game there. Okay, so you mentioned SIU. Uh,
Yeah, I
you
kinda
had those flip flopped.
spoiled the next one for us a little bit, but,
Yep, that's
so
right.
yeah, I did. I had SIU in the 4th spot as far as ranking them 1 through 6. So, again, you could it's kind of a coin flip for me, Lamar and SIU. I think SIU is gonna be a better football team than Lamar this year in totality. I just think kind of where it's positioned at, right? It's the last game of the year. Like I think we're gonna have a pretty good feel for our identity at this point. I also think the SIU game, you're gonna be playing for a lot. I think SIU and USD both are gonna be playing for we're gonna be playing meaningful football with them in that last game of the year. So
Yeah,
um,
it'll be for playoff seeding, right?
it will be. I expect both teams to be in the playoffs, so I have a feeling that'll be a playoff seeding type game there. So, um, yeah, it's going to be a tough one, but I think hopefully by then we've got the personnel kind of moving, grooving, gelling, feeling good about things. But again, it's also way more unpredictable at that spot
This
too, because you never know what host of injuries you could have. You have no idea what the games, every game before that has, shown us. So a lot of question marks around it, but in general, still feel pretty good about USD hitting the road and being successful down there. But definitely a tricky game.
Yeah, and something else to factor in with this is that number one, they're receiving votes. They're in the top 20.
Hmm.
They're ranked at number 20 for the preseason poll.
Yep.
So you already have that. You've got DJ Williams, returning quarterback. He looked like a world beater to start the season, and then I don't know if he broke his hand or something with his hand, had to have surgery, and was out for the rest of the season. And they were ravaged with injuries last year as a team, but that was a big hit for them. Um, where this gets really tricky, Grant, is that we don't have a bye week until the last week of the season. So
Right.
this will be 12 weeks in a row of just banging our heads against the wall. And so, what does that look like? You mentioned it, like which team has injuries and to what positions, what key players. There's a lot of unknown there. And so, again, this is all speculation in our opinion, but yeah, this game's going to be no joke. I put them at number three, third toughest, because last year that they went 4-8, but again, ravaged with injuries. I
Hmm.
think it was 20 when we played them. I want to say it was like 20 plus injuries when they came to the
Yeah.
dome.
Hmm.
Um, and so, I don't know. I don't really, I don't think they're going to be bit by the injury bug 2 years in a row that
Yeah.
badly. I just don't
Hmm.
see the odds of that are not good. So I don't see that happening. But this one's in Carbondale, 10 hour road trip from Vermilion. Um, big playoff implications. We already mentioned that, but they're going to be fighting for a potential seed as well, or even a top 16, whatever that looks like. So I do think, and I know I'm personally higher on this team than you and Jake are.
Hmm.
I think that they have a chance to be really sneaky good this year. And so there's that. 42-13 was the final last year in the Dome, by the way.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that this one, again, another sneaky game like Lamar, and that's kind of why we're putting them in the middle and we're splitting hairs here. But I think that one could be a interesting one to end the season for us. And we'll be coming off the state rivalry game too. So
Hmm.
um, lot to look forward to with those at the end of the season. But how about let's go second toughest.
Yeah, I think as we were talking through this too, I feel like we had a pretty good consensus on the bottom two. I think the pretty obvious consensus on the top two that, in my mind, NDSU and Iowa State are far and away our two toughest away games, right, by a pretty wide margin. Then I think it falls off pretty considerably to Lamar and SIU, and I think it drops off again, right, to Indiana State and UNI. So
Agreed.
uh, but yeah, in my mind, I think for me, number two is going to be the NDSU game. I mean, to your point, you've got to hear they're the consensus number one. It's the first Missouri Valley football conference game for us, so it's right out of the gate. I mean,
Their homecoming again,
they're
by the way. So you got deja
yep,
vu with us going up there and beating them a
uh,
couple of years ago on their homecoming.
another homecoming game. Yep, certainly doesn't help, but again, it's like if you're not excited for that game, I don't know what to tell you. Right, as a college football fan in general, it's going to be a hell of a game. Uh, I'd say we've had decent luck, or as lucky as you can be, winning in Fargo. Um, here recently. So I don't think the players are intimidated by the Fargo Dome necessarily. Right, I think we all understand it's a hard place to play, but they don't look at it as like oh my gosh, it's a death march to Fargo. Right, I mean, we've proven we can win up there.
Yeah, and I want to make a point on that because I think not only to the Fargo Dome, but just anywhere in general, including even just look at Wisconsin and Camp Randall last year,
Hmm.
and talking about going to Jack Trice and Ames. I think the culture of this team has changed, where we feel like we've arrived at the D1 level, and we've had the
Hmm.
success now the last couple of years to back it up. That I don't think we're afraid to play anywhere anymore. I don't think the lights are too bright. I don't think there's too many fans in the stands. None of that applies anymore to this team, and I think that's a culture that's been built by several years of players. This isn't just something that happened last year, but it's been building for a handful of years now. And so I think that's where we're at. And I don't think we're afraid to play anybody anywhere.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean we've joked about this before when we first entered D1. You know, coming out of the Great West, even you'd go to those schools, those FBS type matches, or even the NDSU's of the world, and you're like, oh my gosh, our guys aren't even remotely the same size as them, right? Just the eyeball
Right.
test, you go, oh no, this is not good, right? Those days are long, long gone, right? There's
Yeah.
none of that going on anymore. So, um, although like that will be obviously our biggest FCS test, it's going to be anybody's biggest FCS test, especially on the road. So, um, it'll be a really good measuring stick for both teams too, I think, right? I mean, you can say it's a good measuring stick for the Yotes. I think it's just a good measuring stick for NDSU as well, because I think both us and NDSU don't have any super daunting non-conference games other than the FBS one, which again doesn't necessarily go against you as an FCS team, right? So when it comes to
Right.
resumes and things like that, but um, it's going to be a good measuring stick to see where those two teams are at. So I'm excited. I'm going to do my best to be in Fargo for that one, schedule permitting with work and family and stuff. But yeah, I'm already getting fired up just talking about that one.
So fun fact. This one's really fun. We are the only FCS team to have beaten North Dakota State the last two times in a row. Last two times we played them, two times in a row in the regular season. We're the only FCS team that can say that we've done that. I know they thumped us in the playoffs at home, but I'm talking just regular season. We've beaten them now two times in a row. And so I think there's a lot of confidence. Again, it goes back to that culture piece. Um, and we're not scared of anybody. But I did mention it is their homecoming. Um, this this matchup is big for the fact that it's going to have big time playoff seeding implications. If we want to go and we go where we think we're going to go, and we want that number 1 or number 2 overall seed to be able to have home field advantage through the playoffs, got to win this one.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yeah.
obviously,
And
winning
vice
the
versa
valley, winning the
for
valley is,
NDSU. Same
yeah, for
thing, right?
NDSU
They have
too.
the same goal.
Absolutely.
I think they have the same expectations, goals that we do. So for either
Yeah.
team, if you want to try to lock in a 1 or 2 seed come
You
the
got
end
to
of the
win the
year,
valley, and the only way you
you
win
got
the
to win the
valley is
Valley.
beat everybody in the valley. There was a 3-way tie last year, which was absolutely ridiculous. But
Mm-hmm.
if you want to win the valley, you just got to win all the valley games. So and it starts off with a real big bang on
Yes, it
September
does.
27th.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So,
So,
all right. So NDSU last year, 14-2. One of those losses was obviously us.
mm-hmm.
Tied for first in the valley. Mentioned that 3-way tie. National champions. They got their 10th ring last year. 4-hour drive, Fargo, North Dakota. It's a big early road test. Mentioned that already. Preseason number 1. Every single poll you look at, I don't care whose poll it is. Every Joe Schmo out there has got them at number 1. And also, I would also double down and say most of them have them as the favorite to win it all as well. Even with
Correct.
the kind of the quarterback questions and other question marks they have.
Mm-hmm.
But I mentioned the 2-game regular season win streak against them or going against them. I mean, they're NDSU, right? And so
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they're going to be good. Whether I don't care who their quarterback is, they may even switch quarterbacks by the time we get to this game. It may not be Cole Payton. It may be
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very, very
Hayes or
possible.
whatever his name is, the second stringer. So I don't care who it is. They lost a couple of guys in the portal too, but they're NDSU. They recruit well. They've reloaded. They're going to be good. Will they be deserving of that number 1 rank at this point in the season? Time will tell, but it's still NDSU at the end of the day. So definitely up there, real high on our toughest list.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right, number 1, Iowa State.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious, right, that Iowa State's our number 1 hardest road game. One, I'll start with a caveat. I wouldn't, I don't ever ask or expect an FCS team to hit the road and beat an FBS team in the P4, I should say, in the P4 conferences, Power 4. You start to get to Group of 5. I like our chances a lot, right? You think about Strevler and Bowling Green, that type of
Yes.
game. Feel
Yep.
good about those, especially with this team. To be honest, I'd feel good with all but maybe a handful of Group of 5 teams, right? So, but when you're talking about the Power 4 conferences and Iowa State in particular, they're just a damn good football team, right? They were a great football team last year, even getting riddled with injuries. They still were a good football team.
Why couldn't this be our dad's Iowa State?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. That's exactly what my dad made that comment. He goes, "Man, of all the Iowa State teams we gotta play, they were pretty darn bad for about 20, 25 years." So
so bad, dude. You'd see
yeah.
8 or 9 missed tackles on an individual play.
Mm-hmm. But this team's, I mean, Iowa State, they have their aspirations, their goals is winning the Big 12, right? So they're going to be a tough football team. However, back to your point, Mitch, though, I don't think the Yotes in any way, shape, or form are walking in there and thinking, "Oh God, let's just get this game over with and get the hell out of here," right? Those days are long gone. I think they expect to compete. As we all know, Aiden, uh, he hasn't commented a lot on it, but it's going to be an emotional big game for him as well, right? That's where he started his football career.
Yep.
You and I both know he'd love to hang some big numbers for the game and compete all the way till the end. So it's going to be a tough one. It's also going to be a lot of fun for us as the fans and the players too, right? To get to go to a stadium and play in front of that many people, show what you can do. I'm very, very excited, but it's going to be a tall ask to ask for the win from the Yotes.
Yeah, and Ray says it right here. After the trip to Ireland, they might have jet lag. I agree. This is an interesting where this falls for both teams is really interesting because
Mm-hmm.
number 1, we don't have the warm up like we had Northern last year before we went to Wisconsin. So you got that one warm up game to just hit somebody else. I don't care who the opponent is, just hit somebody else in a different colored jersey and not your own guys in practice because it's different. And so to have that kind of tune up game before you go to Wisconsin and Camp Randall last year, I really liked that. We don't have that this year. We don't have that benefit. Now Iowa State does, but it's in Ireland against their arch rival in Kansas State and what is known as Farmageddon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Does the winner receive like a big dump truck full of potatoes, or I don't know, but the Farmageddon game being over there and the travel craziness that is the trip like that, and then to turn around and have to play us, top five FCS opponent coming in, and then the following week they play their in-state rival in the Iowa Hawkeyes, and so the game falls at an interesting spot for both teams for different reasons. But this Iowa State team is good. They returned their quarterback in Rocco, backed obviously Matt Campbell. He's a great coach. I will say this: it's a pay game for us. So either way, we're collecting a check.
Yep, those are important for any FCS program. So
it keeps the lights on in the athletic department. To win it would be icing on the cake, so to speak. But and we're going to get into this. There's so many connections to Iowa State between USD and us with personnel and families and coaches and everything else. Can't wait to do the preview show on that here in a couple weeks. But it's going to be tough, and so that's why we're putting it at the number one toughest. They are number 22 coming in to the season. I guess I don't really know what else to say on the Cyclones. If we had Jake here, he could give us a full breakdown, and him being a Cyclone fanatic on top of his USD fanaticness. But
I was going to say, we'll save that for a couple weeks, because Jake's going to be the guy here on the preview show, right? He might be the most qualified person on planet Earth for both teams.
Yes. It is their home opener, though, so that'll be interesting. Will their fans get up for an FCS opponent? Maybe not as much as if it were to be someone like the Hawkeyes coming in, but again, is their home opener, and fans haven't seen football for a long time, so I do expect a little bit of juice from that. How about this fun fact for you, or maybe not so fun? Yotes are 0-9 all time against Iowa State.
And the last time we played Iowa State?
1959.
All right.
Last time we played them. Actually, so I live near Sioux City. The first ever meeting was 1899, played in Sioux City, Iowa.
In Sioux City, love that.
Neutral field.
Right, right.
And I will say this: the victory margin here between us and them over those 9 games is 165-12. So we've not put many. We'll probably put more points up in this game than we did on the previous 9 meetings.
Yeah, I'd like to see us put up more than 12. I would like to see that. Well, that's funny. No, that's see, I always like it when it is regionally close. There always tends to be some deep history back to those, like you said, 1899. That always, I love hearing those. I can only imagine the type of guys.
And the final score there was like 6-3 or 5-3.
Leather helmets.
5-3.
Yeah. I was going to make one comment that you mentioned earlier, but it's going to be a tough game for us, obviously, but I agree with you. I love where it's positioned. They've got that huge game in Ireland, jet lag potentially coming off that, and then you've got Iowa after us. Very easy to overlook, a lowly FCS team, right? Like, unfortunately for us, from what I've seen on Twitter, I don't think anybody's buying into that. They're like, hey, USD's number 5 FCS ranked team. Like, they're not going to come over and just roll over, right? So
their fan base online seems to be putting a little bit of respect on our name.
Very much so. I was pleasantly surprised to see that, but yeah, they're not sleeping on the Yotes, unfortunately, which we kind of hope they would be. But the one comment I've jokingly made is that we would really like to see Iowa State win over in Ireland, so they don't lose, come back and really take it out on the Yotes, right? I'd like to see them get a win, maybe feel good about it, not worry about USD, and maybe come in a little lackadaisical. But it wouldn't break my heart to see them win in Ireland, and then maybe start thinking that they're doing all right and overlook us. But
yeah, I agree. Maybe they'll be sleepwalking for the first half, and we can keep it close and get it to the fourth quarter and just let the chips fall where they may.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, Wisconsin came out and hit us pretty good. We were in a hole at Wisconsin, so if we can get it to halftime, keep it close, I think anything can happen. But I'm curious if anybody wants to drop it in the comments real quick as we get out of here. What do you think the toughest and softest opponents are? We can definitely take a look at your comments there. I'm curious to know. Otherwise, Grant, as we wrap it up, man, next week we've got a big show because we've got our prediction show.
Yes, I was just gonna say next week we've got the prediction show. Sounds like day and time may be determined. We'll leave that out to the we'll leave that to Twitter announcements here later. We may have some guests on. We may be switching days depending on schedules here. But yes, one last show before we hit into our regular scheduled of Thursday preview. Sorry, now I'm forgetting Thursday preview, Monday post game show schedule for in season. So this is it. This is you've got this one. We've got next week, which is our prediction of what we think the Coyotes are going to do for 2025, and then
And for
football's
those
here.
fans listening and watching, bring your predictions because we'll definitely want to read those on the air too. Um, I'm very curious to see where the rest of Coyote Nation thinks this team's going to land because this team has had a lot of change, both in the coaching staff and player personnel. So I'm really curious to see where the kind of the confidence level is of Coyote
Yes.
Nation as we head into this year.
Yeah,
Do
I would
we
love
think
to
we're
see
going to steamroll, or do we think we're going to have some bumps in the road? So
yeah, I'd
bring your
love to get a lot of
predictions.
interaction on that show next week. So we'll be firing out announcements on Twitter and stuff. Feel free to comment there. Get in here live with us, Yote fan or non-Yote fan, right? If you're just a Missouri Valley football fan or a football fan in general and want to give your thoughts, we'd love to hear them. So, um, yeah, I'm excited for next week. That's always our most exciting show, in my opinion, other than, of course, the actual in-season ones. But looking forward to it.
As we head out the door, you got to remind me when did you start last year? Was it in the middle of the season or was it at the beginning? I can't remember.
I was trying to think about it as well. I want to say I was not on for a preview show. I'll say that, but I believe it
Dude,
was
we did dude get this. So
non-conference.
last year's preview show we did in February.
Oh, you guys were way
We
ahead of
we
schedule.
we were
You
so
could.
fired up because we had just started the podcast and we
Oh,
were
that's
so fired
funny.
up. We did the preview show in February. What were we thinking? Well, I guess we
You
didn't
could.
have all the transfer
You didn't
portal
have the
maggots.
transfer
That
portal stuff,
yeah.
right? Yeah, I was gonna say you could never pull that off with the transfer portal now, but yeah, no, I didn't do a preview show with you guys last year, but I believe I was in on before the conference started anyway, so
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
looking
So you're
forward
coming
to
up
it.
on your 1 year here on the show too. So
Yep, exactly.
that's awesome. All right, man. Well, I don't think I have anything else for the fine folks other than just to say thank you for tuning in, whether that was on Twitter tonight for the first time ever or here on
Yes.
YouTube live with us. And don't forget, we do make these shows available on Spotify as an audio only. So the next day or so, usually within 24 hours, they're up on Spotify. So we do the show Thursday night. They're either there Thursday night or Friday for you to go listen to audio only if you'd like. If you're driving in the car or whatever, a little bit maybe more convenient for you. Check it out there. Otherwise, I'm going to play the outro and we're going to get out of here. Thank you,
Sounds
everybody,
good.
for tuning in. Go
Thanks everybody.
Yotes.
Go Yotes.